the main topic that I think is coming up on the agenda will be the media.
Yes.
The problems that they are now facing, and CBC is an example of one where
Yes.
a number of layoffs have taken place. But the one that seems to be most serious in my mind is Can West Global, Dean.
Yes.
And they're a basket case, and I'm surprised at that. Have they overreached and just gobbled up too much?
Yeah, they're in terrible trouble. Part of what happened there.
Now keep in mind, they were the ones that operate the National Post and the Ottawa Citizen, eh?
Yeah, and the Montreal Gazette.
Gazette.
Huge newspapers. Yeah. The Global Television Network, plus all kinds of specialty networks. They're a big company.
That's Izzy Asper, eh? The
yes.
late Izzy Asper.
Yes, and what's happened there, they went out kind of at the peak of the market and bought up all of these newspaper holdings. They were the former Hollinger or Conrad Black papers. They went out, bought them up, paid top dollar for them. I think they paid about $3 billion for them. And I think if you were to look at selling them now, I don't think they'd be worth 10% of that.
Yeah. And
they're all losing money. A lot of newspapers right now are losing money. I think even the Toronto Star came out and reported that it was operating in the red in its last quarter. It's a tough time. It's a tough time, way down. It's a tough time to be in the media, frankly, because you look at some of the biggest advertisers, the big three, the automakers. In fact, all automakers, they're not making money. They're not spending money. So that's true of a lot of different companies, and for local networks, for example, like Czechs, like our local radio stations. If small businesses aren't making money, they're not spending money on advertising. So that puts them under pressure too. And so we're seeing the problem kind of trickle down, top to bottom.
So what do they want? They want a bailout?
Well, what they'd like on the television side is they'd like more money from the cable companies. So they'd like money from Cogeco, they'd like money from Rogers under a system that they call fee for carriage. And my concern with that is it becomes a television tax. There are a number of people that support it. I'm not one of them. I don't think fee for carriage. Now, the CRTC looked at this, and what the CRTC said was, if you can demonstrate that fee for carriage will mean more local content, more Canadian content, and will support local networks, then we'll look at it. If this is just money that you're going to take as networks so that you can buy more U.S. programming, and the CBC, by the way, outbid private broadcasters for the rights for things like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. Now, we don't give the CBC $1.1 billion to serve as the public broadcaster to outbid private broadcasters. That's not fair. They're not competing on a fair basis. But that's what's happened recently. Mm-hmm. So we've got to take a look at some of these things. I think, where the CBC is concerned, we should have a study into looking at what is the future role of the public broadcaster. Because the public broadcaster should be a lot different, frankly, from the private broadcasters. And, I think they have an incredibly important role. I think that they have an important role both from a news standpoint, but also from telling the story of Canada. They have a very important role to keep that Canadian identity alive and to keep it separate, and to support Canadian talent and artists and actors. I really think that's an important role for the public broadcaster, and we've got to have a longer discussion about that. The private broadcasters really concerned about especially some of the smaller networks, the A channels. All the A channels are in trouble, and could well be pushed right out of existence. So for a community like Barrie, for example, where the Barrie A channel gets out and supports all the charitable, like they create awareness about charitable events, they help promote business, they promote the local economy. If the Barrie A channel ceases to exist, you've kind of lost that. Now, I think it's Rogers and Barrie. I'm not sure if it's Rogers or Cogeco. But, there's an argument that can be made that, for example, channels like this, like TV Cogeco, their channel like that in Barrie can pick up that slack, and maybe would, especially if the cable companies were looking at either having to fork over a whole bunch of money in the form of fee for carriage or putting more money into their own community networks. Maybe they would do that, and maybe that's a pitch that they can make. But for right now, there's a lot of question marks. One thing's for sure, the media is changing. The media platform is changing. What used to work, the old structures are out. Are people 10 years from now going to get their news from a newspaper? Are they going to, are they going to watch television at 8 o'clock Monday because that's when their show's on? Or are they going to want to watch their show when they feel like it and watch it on the internet? Everything is moving to a common platform. And I don't care if it's television shows or movies or news or what have you, it's all going to be based off a common platform, and people will go to that platform. So all of the broadcasters have got to figure out, how do they fit into this new media model? And in the interim, so these challenges were coming anyways. Bring in the economic challenges that we're seeing and put that on top of the fact that all the rules are changing in the media anyways. And they're struggling.
Boy, these are incredible times, Dean.
They are.
We're going to come right back. We're going to have a look at these messages, and we'll be right back.